My entitled parents kicked me out at 18 to make space for my golden child brother. Now, years later, they're begging me for money. Let me tell you how I went from being the ignored kid my parents couldn't wait to kick out to the person they came crawling back to years later, begging for money, all because their precious golden child screwed up. I'm 29 now, but this all started when I was just a kid. I have a younger brother, Kyle, who's 4 years younger than me. Ever since he was born, it was clear who the favorite was. Kyle could do no wrong. If he broke something, it was my fault for not watching him. If he got a bad grade, the teacher was the problem. Meanwhile, I could bring home straight A's and get nothing more than a shrug. My dad was the classic authoritarian. My house, my rules. And my mom enabled every bit of it. Together, they created a home where Kyle was a prince, and I was just extra. By the time I was 18, I was already used to being ignored. I had worked my butt off all through high school to get out of that house, and it finally paid off. I got accepted into Fordham University in New York City. I was so proud. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd finally be proud of me too. Nope. Instead, they sat me down one night and told me they needed more space in the house. Kyle was getting older and deserved his own room. And since I was about to leave for college anyway, they figured it was the right time for me to move out. Except they didn't just mean move out eventually. They meant now. That's right. They kicked me out immediately. No help, no transition plan, just, you'll figure it out. So at 18, I stood outside the house with 2 duffel bags, a backpack, and no idea where I was going. I crashed on a friend's couch for a week, then found a tiny sublet apartment in the Bronx so I could still attend classes at Fordham. I worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. Waited tables, did tutoring, even pulled overnight shifts as a security guard. I was constantly exhausted, constantly broke, and constantly reminded that my parents couldn't care less. Meanwhile, Kyle was posting Instagram photos of his new gaming setup, the one that took over my old room. He got the car my parents once promised me. He was living it up while I scraped by. I didn't talk to them for years. I had nothing to say. I focused on school. I graduated top of my class at Fordham, then got into NYU Law. After law school, I landed a great job at a firm that pays me more in a month than my dad made in a year. I moved into a decent apartment, paid off my student loans, and finally started to feel secure. Then came the messages. First, my mom. "Hi, sweetie. We miss you." Kyle had a rough year, and we were wondering if we could talk. Then my dad. "Your brother has a baby on the way. We're tight on funds. Thought maybe you could help." Then Kyle himself. "Bro, you've got money now. Don't be selfish." At first, I ignored them, but they kept reaching out. Eventually, I agreed to meet them at a diner when I visited my hometown. They acted like nothing ever happened, like we were just a normal, happy family. Kyle even said, "It's like the prodigal son has returned." And then they told me why they really want to see me. They needed me to co-sign a loan, $80,000. Apparently, Kyle had racked up debt, failed business ideas, maxed out credit cards, and a mortgage he couldn't afford. My parents were too deep in it to help, and they figured since I was a big-shot lawyer now, I could just bail him out. I laughed. I looked them dead in the eye and said, "You kicked me out so Kyle could have a gaming room. I lived off ramen and slept in roach motels to get through school. And now you want my help because your golden boy messed up? Sorry, but this lawyer doesn't do charity work." My mom cried. My dad called me ungrateful. Kyle accused me of letting the family down. I stood up, told the waiter they'd be taking care of the check, and walked out. I haven't heard from them since. And honestly, that's fine with me. Sometimes family isn't who raised you. It's who stood by you when you had nothing. And sometimes being kicked out is the best thing that could have happened, because it forced me to become the man I am today.